And anytime we hear about somebody who has any kind of success, we want to say, well, what did they do? You know, if the church in Fort Worth goes from 50 to 5,000, what's that pastor going to do? He's going to write a book about how he did it. Now, I don't fault him for that. I read some of those books. They're encouraging sometimes. But the mistake that we make in the church today is we assume that whatever methodology he employed, whatever tactics he used, those must work everywhere. You have to remember about Joshua and Jericho. What other city did God tell them to destroy in the same manner? 0. That was a tactic which was for one day, in one particular set of circumstances, and for one battle. And it was never used again. God never employed it again, even if they tried it again. Why does God do that? Because he wants you to remain close to him. He gave a different prescription for every battle that they were to fight. Sometimes they didn't even listen for it. What works in one place, one day, in one set of circumstances may not work the next. That's why victory requires consistency. What I love about David here is David asked one time, the first time they assembled themselves, what should I do? And God said, take the sword to them. Run down that hill with your people, take the sword and destroy them. Now, the same thing happened a short while later. Did David just assume, okay, I'm still working on the old thing that worked last time. I'll just try that again. It worked the first time, let me try it again. No. What does David exhibit? He understands that he needs to keep asking. This is a different day, a different set of circumstances. I need to ask again. And now when he asks a second time, what does God say to him? Don't go up. And this is cute, this cool story here. I almost said cute. I might have said cute. It's not cute. You have this cool story to me. I love what God tells him to do. He says, hey, don't go up. What I want you to do is I want you to circle behind them. I guess there was a stand of balsam trees. They're kind of bushes. I want you to stumble behind them, and I want you to crouch down. And then when you hear the sound of marching troops on the top of the trees, which we know where he sent his angels, his warrior angels, ahead of them. When you hear my angels going to take the battle to the Philistines, and I've gone ahead to destroy them, then you very quickly get out of your crouch, run from behind those balsam trees, and take it to him. He had a whole different plan of how he wanted to take him down the second time. Obviously, he had something else he wanted to show them. I don't know what it was. You know, perhaps the second time he really, maybe Israel got proud the first time, and they thought that, well, maybe we're just better fighters than the Philistines. You know, I don't know what was going on in Israel. Maybe they got really proud and really arrogant, and God wanted to show them, hey, that first time you whooped them, that was all under my power. And so this time he went out ahead of them. And maybe the Philistines, they got licked, and they thought, you know, we underestimated the Israelites. And maybe they got together a great battle plan, one which would have defeated the Israelites. I don't know. Maybe they came with stronger weapons, better tactics. And so God said, I'm going to humble the Philistines too. And I'm going to whoop them with my angels. I don't know the reason for it. But what you see is that every day is a different day. And every church is a different church. Every family is a different family. Every relationship is a different relationship. Every sermon is a different sermon. I can't just write sermons when I go to camp. It's up and just however I want to write them. Every day is different. Every Sunday is different. I don't know who's going to be in pews and so on and so forth. You have to stay close to the Lord. I don't care what it is. And so this, obviously intimacy is the first thing, because if we don't even have the relationship, the second thing won't even work. But if you're close to him, you have to continue to keep asking him, how am I supposed to accomplish this today? Okay? So my counsel to you in this part is whatever your battle is, if you're losing today, please don't go to the bookstore to find the way out of it. I'm not discouraging you from reading those books. Oftentimes they can be an encouragement. But go to your closet. You understand? Don't go to the bookstore. What worked in Peoria, Illinois, in Sacramento, California, with one person in their family, one person in their struggle, one church in its struggle, that's not going to work here. Our God is way bigger than that. He knows all of you. He knows all of our situations. He doesn't have to make some program which will kind of loosely fit everybody. He can tailor every situation to every single need. You just have to seek him on it. Okay? So go to your closet. That's my second point. The third thing I want you to see here is that victory requires agreement. Look at verses 20 to 21 and then verse 25. So David came to Baal-perazim and defeated them there, and he said, "The Lord has broken through my enemies before me like the breakthrough of waters." Therefore he named that place Baal-perazim, and they abandoned their idols there. So David and his men carried them away. And then verse 25. Then David did so, just as the Lord had commanded him, and struck down the Philistines from Geba as far as Gezer. The Philistines were David's enemies because David was the Lord's. It's important to note that Philistines didn't care about David. These weren't just natural enemies. The reason why David had to do all this fighting was because he was the Lord's. He was completely submitted to him. David's submission to God was such in his life that he was completely invested in God's will and in God's glory. And because he had laid down his life and he was completely invested in God's will and God's glory, he found himself engaged in a lot of fights. And you will too. Why did Job suffer all that pain and sacrifice and suffering? It was all because he was the Lord's, and the Lord wanted to make an example of Job to somebody who doubted him. Okay? And that's how it is with Christians. You're going to be in the lion's den. You're going to be in the fiery furnace. Because he's going to show the world his handiwork in your life by exposing you to a lot of trouble. And that's what happens with David. Now, success in Christianity, this is important to note here. It's very important. It's as important as the first 2 points. Success in Christianity is going to be impossible if you don't agree with God's objectives. Does that make sense? Do you understand that? If you don't agree with what God's trying to accomplish, you can't be successful. Because you're going to end up pulling your punch. You're not going to follow through. Remember Christ's admonition to count the cost. Remember what Jesus said? He said to all his disciples, there's that moment, kind of like John Wayne in the movie Red River, before they go on the cattle drive. Hey, listen, you can stay home if you want, but if you go with me, it's going to be hard. I don't want anybody going on this cattle drive to Missouri.